Hi, my name is Tanya and welcome to my small backyard vegetable garden here in central Victoria. After a day of rain, we have had quite a warm day and I have picked up some seedlings, some faster growing greens that I can get in around all the slower growing brassicas. I'm very mindful about I've only got this amount of space. I am hoping to get my other two garden beds filled over Easter, but I'm very mindful as to what I can put in around here. I want to make use of the space around the slower growing brassicas, and I also want to sow some seeds direct into the garden bed, those being carrots and beetroot, but also sow some more seed snails. I've been really happy with how the rainbow chard or the rainbow silver beet has grown, and I'm going to plant that out soon. And I really want to sow some more of those things and try some flowers. As well as having the two garden beds I want to fill, I also have a very large copper pot. I showed it in a video way back at the start, a couple of months ago, and I'm wanting to get that filled. I just have to decide on a permanent spot because once it is filled, I will not be moving it. It is kind of large, so I want to fill that, especially for lettuces and the leafy greens that snails love, and I won't have to then worry too much about protecting them. They will be very safe in it. All the seedlings that I planted the other day are looking not too bad, seeing we have had quite a hot day. I'm going to now make some bird netting covers. I'm loving these, so I have got some more panels that I'm going to bend up into a little bit of protection over things that really don't need netting as such, but will stop the birds from digging up seeds or small seedlings. So I'm going to bend up a couple of those. I do have a little bit more wire that I can cut some more panels to make for the other garden beds, but I will attempt that if I need them later on. These are quite movable, so they might do for now. I ran into the problem that they are just hanging off the garden bed because of the bean arch, and I'm going to make a few adjustments because the beans have just started producing again with our cooler weather, and there's no way I want to take them out, but I do want to sow some snow peas along this wire to fill this in, because eventually they will be growing and then I will take the beans out the other side. So I need to make an adjustment and move it over or straighten it up as much as I can so that I can get this wire, the little wire bird covers, so that they are not hanging off the garden bed. My dog Hunter, his eyesight isn't the best, so I would hate for him to run along there and catch his face on it. So always precautions when it comes to thinking about him. Now I'm going to get a bit of sea salt and some water in a watering can, and I'm going to give everything a little bit of a drink after today's hot weather. The soil isn't dry, it just needs a little bit of refreshment. I do not want to have them sitting in really wet soil because we do not have that same heat that we had at the start of spring and summer. We have our cooler nights and they're not going to drink as much water, so a sea salt drink will be better. I've got the snow peas over the other side. They are not up yet. Now I have to make some decisions on what I am going to direct sow, seed snail sow, and where. This is probably the biggest decision on what I'm going to put where, because if I don't get my beds filled at Easter, then this is it. So I'm feeling kind of pressured after thinking I had worked it out. But yeah, I know I want more carrots and I want to sow more beetroot. So they are definites. It's about where I place them, whether I put the cabbage here, there, or where. And I'm finding it a bit difficult. So, we all doubt ourselves. But the snow peas are a definite, so I'm going to get on with soaking those. So they are ready to go because they are definitely going along the edge of that bean arch. With the pea straw, once it gets damp, it expands and it ends up way more than when you put it on because it is so dried and compacted. So now that it has expanded, I can take a whole heap off. It is beautiful and ready to put somewhere else. I may be able to put some in the compost bin because that will be the browns that go in there. And I may put some on the paths in the pumpkin arch, and over the back of that will all be soil that I have been building up with pea straw so that I can dig it out and put that into the 2 raised beds that we're going to fill. Now, I'm finding it difficult to make a decision, so I'm going to push on and do some jobs down in my little potting area and along here. The things that I've been putting off because I've been planting, doing the fun stuff. So I'm going to get stuck into them while I'm making sure I'm making the right decisions, and then I can have both things decided on and done. I'm loving this wrought iron balustrade. It's keeping the raspberries back from this path, and it's not quite long enough. I do have another piece or some gates or something that match it that might be able to extend this down, but that won't be for a little while. So I just like to tick off a few of these jobs and try not to put it off too long, because then it ends up a huge list and then I'm in overwhelm. I can't, you feel like you're sitting there spinning your wheels and not ticking anything off. One thing I have been wanting to do now that this balustrade's in is tidy up these raspberries that have kicked out further and they overshadow the large pots that are there. And so I'm wanting to tidy that up, and it's always good to have eye protection when you're dealing with raspberries especially. And I'm decided that I now have a little bit extra space, and I ummed and ahed over whether I should move this very large pot. It is very heavy, so it's usually good to move if there's 2 of us, but I'm going to get on and just move it carefully so that I've got a little bit extra room in my pathway. These things aren't sticking out, and I can get a trolley or a wheelbarrow down there if I need to bring in bags of things. And I think it was worth that. I'm still moving things around. I've got the painting done. It's had time to dry, but I've been putting off getting this little area sorted. So tonight's it. I'm not going to sit around thinking about what should I sow or what should I plant. I'll just get on with this, and then I can actually get in and put the chilies in the big pots here. I've got those large 55-gallon drums that have had tomatoes in them. They do still have some capsicums in them, and that is where I'm going to move all, I think, all the chilies, definitely, but probably most of the capsicums also. And then if they're all planted along there, I have 2 more drums that I want to line up there too, sort of squeeze in. If they're all planted along there and I need to put some sort of frost protection over them, I can do that, and they're all in one line. Everything had to be moved when I bought in the garden beds, and they came through this back gate. So everything just got moved out of the way, and then when I planted tomatoes into the big drums, everything got moved to the other side. So this is great. I'm getting on and sorting this out, and it will make planting the chilies and the capsicums so much nicer, and I can actually set up this place or this area with much more ease, because I won't be having to lug everything down a tiny little path. Going to weed in around these pots. In stones especially, you always gather a lot of weed seed, so it's good to go through that and dig out as much. And I'm also moving a lot of the hooks, because now I can get down here. I have all these hooks that just go over the top of the rail on the fence, and I can just hang a whole heap of like the tomato cages and things that I use to secure, plants, young plants. And those tomato cages can be very dangerous because there's 4 long spikes. I'm always mindful with my dog because he does have low vision, and just moving things here, there, and everywhere, and he is very confused, wondering what is going on. But I can now get into the chilies, and he's very happy also. It's cleared and it's much nicer. On beyond that, I have to sort something out. We've got a large chipper and the trailer with my glass house, my secondhand glass house sitting on it. But that is for another day. I'm going to top dress these beds for the capsicums and get one ready for the chilies. But here I am at the end of the day and I'm losing light. It is getting dark much earlier than it has been, and you can feel it closing in every night. But I'm very happy with what I've got done in that short amount of time. I'm going to put the seedlings away and I'm going to plant them tomorrow and just be really happy with the progress that I've made. The sunset is just beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. See you in the next one. Bye.